why did you guys break up, according to you?
Well, we had a verbal argument.
About?
I was speaking about my nieces and nephews, and he just went into a rage and doesn't want to hear about them and my family. And it just turned very, very ugly.
This is the plaintiff, John. He says he and the defendant have dated on and off for the past 5 years, and they even lived together. The woman never paid him the rent she owes. Her name is on the lease as well as his, and she's like a grifter who uses men. He's here seeking the 5 months' rent he's owed in the amount of $2,750. This is the defendant, Patricia. She says she and the plaintiff had a fight, and she refused to speak with him for a few weeks. He got all kinds of mad at her, and this is the only reason he's bringing her to court today. He doesn't have a case against her. They were boyfriend and girlfriend living together for 6 years, and she most definitely doesn't owe him any rent money. She's accused of taking advantage.
All parties, please hit your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated, come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
John and Patricia. John, you're suing Patricia for $2,750, her portion of the rent from January to May of this year that she's not paying, and according to you, she's supposed to pay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, what happened here?
We just had a verbal agreement. We came from New York in January. Okay, she had a job in waiting.
How do you two know each other?
We've been dating and living together on and off for the last 5 years.
Okay, and when you were living together in New York, you
Yes.
moved to Florida.
Yes.
When you were living together in New York, was she paying rent?
She was paying bills, food, cable, and she was taking some bills.
So the division of stuff was you paid the rent and she paid
Correct.
food and
Correct.
other bills?
That's correct.
Okay, so you get to the new place, and
Okay.
according to you, at the new place, it's going to change, and each of you are going to pay half and half rent.
That's correct.
And when you move to the new place, you're a couple, right?
That's correct.
And then when you get to the new place, does she pay rent?
No.
All right, so she doesn't pay in January, and you move in January?
Yes, correct.
So January, February, March, when do you file this lawsuit, in April?
In March.
All right, so now, when do you say to her in January, hey, where's the rent?
Well, I didn't say nothing until when I asked her about getting the job.
Which was when?
This was in February, March, basically, okay? When I explained to her about the job, just to pay her
What do you mean you explained to her
No,
about...
I asked her about her obligation. Let me rearrange it. And she said, stop harassing me. I'll call the cops.
Right, but what about the job? Like, you're dating her. Like, the fact that she's not going to work, you don't notice that sooner than February, March?
Well, basically...
When you got down there, why wasn't she working?
I have no idea. She told
Did
me
you ask her?
Yes, I did. And she said she didn't want to lose her Obamacare. She didn't want to lose her health insurance. So she didn't take the job that she had lined up when we moved to Florida.
Okay. And so then did she get a different job, or what did she do all day?
She wouldn't communicate with me. I have no idea. She would leave 8, 9 in the morning, come home at 8, 9 at night. I have
Where
no
was she
idea.
all that day?
I have no idea.
Where were you?
At work, Your Honor.
Okay, so you
This
started
was
working
now.
in January?
No, Your Honor.
When did you start working?
A couple of weeks ago.
Oh, well, that's not what I'm asking. Where were you during January, February, March, when he's talking about?
With him. I
What,
wasn't
did he
at-
work?
No, Your Honor.
How do people eat? Do you work?
I'm retired, Your Honor.
Okay, so you
I'm
have a
retired.
pension?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so you guys, according to you, you're together all of January, all of February. When do you guys break up?
It was about 4, 5 weeks. 5, the most 6 weeks.
Ago?
Yes.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Okay, and why did you guys break up, according to you?
Well, we had a verbal argument.
About?
I was speaking about my nieces and nephews, and he just went into a rage and doesn't want to hear about them and my family. And it just turned very, very ugly.
How long have you been dating?
6 years.
Okay, I take it you realize you're not dating anymore, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so he wants you to pay your rent if you're both still living there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, that's awkward. All right, so nobody's going to leave. Both of you are just there. Both of your names are on the leases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Have either of you tried to get out of the lease with the landlord?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm paying the rent. There's no reason I'm settled where I am. I would like her to leave since she's not paying her obligation.
Right.
And I already processed it. I went to the realty company already.
So what are you doing?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm looking for a safe environment to live in. Until then, I have nowhere else to go.
Why is it so hard for you to find a safe environment in Volusia County, Florida?
For what I could afford.
Okay. Who's the lady next to you?
My witness and best friend for 43 years.
Is she down in Florida or up here?
She's in Florida.
Oh, okay. Is she in Volusia?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So apparently there's no rentals anywhere? I mean, come on, you know? What's the deal here, okay? The police have even been called to your apartment. Tell me who called the police.
She did, Your Honor.
Why did you call the police?
Because I was in fear for my life, Your Honor.
Why were you in fear for your life?
I was sleeping on the couch. He came home. He must have been, I don't know what he was doing. He came in the room with a hammer in his hand. Came by, I don't know what he was going to do with the hammer. Pushed me, I fell, and I called the police.
Why is there no mention of a hammer in the police report?
I don't know, Your Honor. I don't know.
That tends to be kind of an important fact that a police officer would put in the report.
I told them, but because there was no marks, he didn't hit me with the hammer. He pushed me and I fell, and there was no marks. So I don't know why they did not.
He didn't get arrested for domestic violence.
No.
They didn't buy what you were saying.
No.
I don't know. You're an ex-cop?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think they knew that too. But I don't understand. See, normal people, if they're not getting along and they're going to break up, just make arrangements to move on. Why are you still living there rent-free? Because you're not paying rent. And you know he wants you to pay rent because you're no longer together. So why aren't you paying rent?
Well, I am trying to get out, Your Honor.
No, that's not my question. See, the rest of us mere mortals have to pay rent if we're living somewhere. So if, according to you, for 6 weeks you've known he's not supporting you anymore. According to him, since January you've known that, and you haven't ponied up the rent. So whichever way I find it to be, you know that at some point, the first of the month has happened in both of those scenarios, and you don't come up with rent. Why does he have to support you until you get around to finding a suitable place for you? Why?
No, Your Honor, I didn't know this in January. There was no problem in
Well,
January.
what about in March? When were the police first called?
Police first called when I came back. She called them on April 7th, but also I filed a report, the civil suit in March because she wouldn't even talk to me, communicate.
So the first police report is April 7th, and you clearly know he wants you out. In fact, you got served before the first time you ever called the police, right? What day was she served, you said?
I believe someday in March. I don't have the papers from the courts in Florida, but it was someday in March.
Oh, April 3rd. My roommate, the defendant, agreed to pay half. Were you a roommate?
No, Your Honor, I have numerous evidence here to show I'm not a roommate.
What's your evidence there?
I have cards, I have pictures.
Okay. But you know, you're not. Why did you say in the statement of claim that she was a roommate rather than ex-girlfriend?
Because basically it was friends without benefits. It was a roommate. She'd come and go as she pleases.
Friends without benefits?
Yeah, it's friends without
What's
benefits.
the point of that?
That's it. That's right. That's right.
Certainly no point to that.
And that was going on
How
for a long time.
long had it been since you received the benefit?
Probably January. Okay.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So, could you live with an ex after you broke up?
Probably not. I think things would get a little bit too tricky for that.
Why?
It's just a lot of tension in a lot of ways, and don't want to have to fight with someone that clearly didn't need to be in my life.
What are you saying?
If she or he is good people, good person, I think, yeah.
But if you broke up for a reason.
Yeah, but
See?
enough.
Huh?
It's cool.
What do you say?
I'll totally agree because it'd be a little too complicated because you broke up for a reason and there might be a little bit of tension.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
All right. See, here's what I've got. I've got a situation where I think that you have been supporting her, and that was fine with you until it wasn't, and I get it. But so I've got to kind of decide from what point forward. Do you have any evidence to prove that she was supposed to pay the rent in January?
Well, her
5th?
name's on the lease in the verbal
Yeah, that
agreement.
doesn't matter. I mean,
Your
two
Honor,
people could have, and they could have their own internal arrangement that you're paying all the bills and she's paying all the other
When
stuff.
I was in New York, I gave up. I had a business on the side. I gave up. My pension was about half of what I was making, so I took a big pay cut. So when I came down there, I told her I couldn't do it. I have a kid in college.
Okay, I hear you.
I
I'm
couldn't
asking
do
if
it.
you have any proof of that, that the arrangement from the first forward was supposed to be that she's paying half the rent.
Well,
like,
then-
for example, if you're not communicating and so maybe you're texting each other, you know, you would have proof that in January you say, hey, where's the rent?
But no, I have nothing on it.
All
But see,
right,
everything-
so now what we're going to operate under is when does a reasonable person understand that the gravy train is over? Okay? A reasonable person would understand as of April 3rd when the lawsuit's filed, certainly April 5th or whenever you receive it. So if the gravy train is over, that would put us in the following situation. It's April. You need 30 days notice that your gravy train is over. All right? And so that brings us to May. By June 1st, you need to be out of there. Or if you're not out of there, you need to pay rent. Because nobody has to support you for eternity or for the rest of the year or for any other situation like that.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
effective June 1st, you're either out of there or you're paying the rent. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you sure you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we're going to issue a written order explaining that because I want to make sure that you have protection if you have to take it to court again because June 1st comes and goes and she doesn't pay the rent. All right.
Half, Your Honor. 550.
Yeah, half the rent. Yeah.
And,
Okay?
And what about the previous monetary?
You can't prove it.
Prove what? So verbally, so I put her name on the lease just because I liked her and
Yeah.
so
Was her
no,
name on the prior lease?
Yeah, when she was holding her
Oh,
own.
okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, you
Okay.
see where the
Well, you know
messiness
what,
comes?
Your Honor, she wouldn't do it because she knows she would have to leave, vacate. And this
Okay.
is her way of riding the system.
Okay.
That's what she's done.
Yeah,
okay?
but here's
So
the
I-
thing. If you're not going to pay the rent for her like you've done 6 years, what you should do is you should put that in writing or be able to document it somehow. For example, you demand payment in January by sending her, you know, like a 3-day notice, or you text it so that you have proof of that. And what I would do if I were you is maybe try to see if you can get another apartment in the same place. Or something, maybe the landlord will let you out. I don't know. Try to work something out because I know you don't want her there.
I've already spoke to the real estate.
Yeah, I know.
I already did.
Yeah. All right. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, the plaintiff doesn't collect any money, but the defendant, Patricia, is on her way out of the courtroom. You've been given the word now. You got to start paying rent for sure.
Yes.
Within about 3 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
Or leave.
Or get out.
Yes, very fair verdict.
So you're going to do
I'm
that?
happy. Yes, I'm going to try my best.
How is
Either
it
way.
working out with two of you still there and under the same roof? How do you dodge each other?
She's always at my house.
Yeah.
She's
All right.
always
I'm
I
trying.
mean,
at my
seriously.
house.
What,
It's not easy.
no, how do
It's
you
under
work?
a
How do
lot
you
of
do
pressure.
it? A lot of people might wonder, how do you do it?
Just being tough.
Being tough?
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Everyone-
you're in the same house. You come in and
We're
out.
in
You're there at the same
yeah,
time.
but separate areas. It's a pretty huge.
It is pretty
big,
huge.
yeah.
All right, well, good enough. I'm sorry for your problems, but that's it. Okay, you're going to have to start paying up soon.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
And you're no more friends, right?
No.
It's over? The friendship is over? Between you and the plaintiff?
Yes.
It's over?
Yes.
You're not talking very much. You
Yes.
know that. You have 2 words, yes,
Yes.
no. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye. John is on his way out of the courtroom. You okay?
I'm fine. I'm just a little disappointed.
You sorry you didn't have proof so you could get the $2,700 you were seeking?
Well,
You
when
understand the
aspect,
judge's
sure,
verdict?
sure, I understand. I understand.
So what's going to happen now when she doesn't pay up?
Well, if she don't pay up, she has to leave.
Okay.
There's no.
You'll have to push her out.
No, I won't touch her. I don't do that to a woman.
No, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I push her. She's gonna push herself out.
Okay, good enough. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry you had such problems. Harvey?
Okay, look, I mean, if both people have a right to stay there, you got to break the stalemate. You got to sit down with the other person and say, look, let's work this out. We're making each of our lives miserable, and something's got to give. I mean, you got to reason with the person and not just talk about legal rights. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Danielle. She says she hired the defendant to find her a suitable housekeeper, and the woman never came through with a viable candidate. She signed a 3-month contract for the woman's services. The woman failed miserably finding her a person she liked, and she wants the $650 she gave this woman returned because she did a big, fat nothing. This is the defendant, Leslie. She says she owns a nanny, housekeeping, baby nurse recruiting company. And she found the plaintiff a housekeeper she liked and got along with, and was then paid her finder's fee of $650. She also signed a contract stating she would find another suitable candidate if things were not to work out with the housekeeper she liked. Sure enough, 2 months later, she wanted someone new. She offered to find her someone new, and the plaintiff just turned around and sued her instead. Some people. She's accused of cleaning up.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff hired the defendant to find her a housekeeper and says she never found her one. But the defendant says if the plaintiff didn't like the first one, the defendant would find her another. It's the case of Housekeeper.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas. Danielle, you are suing Leslie's business. You own a housekeeping nanny placement business for $650 that you want returned to you because, according to you, they breached the contract. Okay, tell me what happened.
Well, I was looking for a housekeeper in November. Around November 10th, 11th, I reached out to them.
Okay. How did you hear about their service?
On the internet.
Okay.
And she found some candidates for me.
Okay,
for me to
and you
interview.
hired somebody, correct?
I hired somebody,
And
yes.
that somebody that you hired, did you
So
ask
it's
her to
about
leave
a
because you
month
weren't
and a half.
happy?
Yes.
So there were problems with the first person?
Yes.
What were the problems?
Well, she was kind of slow. Of course, there was some training process going on. After a month, I would go out and then instruct her to prepare, some garlic and, get pasta ready so I would cook. So I go outside. About an hour later, come back, she'll still be cutting her garlic.
Okay.
So it's, not very efficient, but that wasn't the only issue. So, the plates that, we use at night, it'll be greased, to bring on the table. And
Wait,
the knife.
she would use
the
dirty plates, are you saying?
The plates, for the dinner,
Uh-huh.
it's tainted. It's not washed clean.
Okay.
Okay. And then the knife is greasy.
Okay, all right, I've heard enough. So you decide that's not working out. Now, part of your deal with your service is that if she's not happy, within a 3-month period, you will keep working with her for 3 months until, is that what it is?
Well, basically, within the first 3 months of someone hiring a candidate, we try our hardest to find another person.
No, what's your contract say? Do you have a written contract?
Yes, I do.
Let me see it.
This is what I had attached with everything.
Okay, so the relevant part says as follows. If during the 90 days immediately following the original hire, the placement is not suitable, which is what happened, your company will do their best during the remainder of the 90-day period to find a replacement at no additional cost. Your company will not be required to make more than 3 additional referrals during the remainder of that 90-day period. All right. So that's the understanding that you folks have with each other. You call her and you tell her this isn't working out, this is why, and what does she tell you?
Well, she told me that she will try to find a replacement.
Okay, so there's still about a month and a half left, more or less? Okay, and what happens?
I called to ask Leslie to look for a different housekeeper.
Right.
And then so she said, okay, she'll get on it. And after a couple of days, I didn't hear her. I text her, is there any updates? She said she's still looking. Right around like the 18th of January, she found a replacement for me to try. So I went, I gave her a try on that day, but that didn't work out at all.
Why?
It wasn't. She was just there, not doing what, a housekeeper is supposed to do. She was standing there, not doing things, just to that sort. I don't remember exactly because it was just so brief.
So
I call her on the same day.
You call Leslie on the same day and tell her
does not work.
This one doesn't work out.
Right.
All right.
I'm
And
going
then
to
what
send
does
her
Leslie
right back.
say?
And she said, okay, she'll continue to try to look for
And then what happens?
Another, couple of days went by. She said she had somebody. I was going to interview her, and on the day, the day before, I guess, she texted me, she said, this is not going to work, she's going to cancel it. So it went on several times like that, up until...
Were you able to try anybody else out besides the person who lasted one day?
No.
Were you able to interview anybody else besides the person that lasted one day?
Yes.
And what happened with that interview?
I agreed to give her a trial. Then I went home unsettled because she didn't seem to be suitable. You know, she didn't have proof that she has a live-in experience. So I asked her for reference. Mm-hmm. If she has more reference that I can see or phone number I can
You asked who for reference?
I asked Leslie for her reference.
Can we just have references?
Yes.
Okay.
And she refused.
Who refused?
Leslie refused.
Leslie said you can't have her references?
She can't give me her references. They do their own references. They don't give out, any references, contact information, nothing.
So did you try that person out?
I gave her a trial, but then she canceled it. Leslie canceled on me. Leslie canceled.
Leslie canceled.
Yeah.
Pretty much what she said so far, you don't disagree with, do you?
I do with some of it,
go
yes.
ahead. Let's talk.
Well, I can just give you actually my calendar printouts.
Oh, I'd rather not. I saw
Okay,
them
fine.
and they're very complicated. You have
That's fine,
everything in
that's
your
fine.
entire calendar.
No.
And I don't want to look at my calendar,
I know, me
much as
neither.
your
Okay, fine.
calendar. So just talk to me and tell me. I don't need to know such specific dates and times. You
Okay.
found her the first person didn't work out. So we all know that part of your deal, put the paper down a second.
Okay.
Part of your deal is that you have to find her
Absolutely.
2 more people if it's within a 90-day period.
That's
right?
correct.
No more than 2 more people.
That's correct.
All right? You have to do your best. That's how you phrased it.
Right.
And you found her a second person, lasted 1 day. Right away she knew that she didn't like the person. And that's okay. I mean,
absolutely.
to some people that may sound picky, that's her home.
Right.
And it's her money. If she doesn't like the
Absolutely.
person, doesn't want them in her face, that's it. And especially it's a live-in situation, right? So, no.
Right.
All right, so now we have the third person. That's really where I want to start with you because the third person is still within the 90-day period.
Yeah.
What went wrong with that third person? There's an interview scheduled in your office.
The third person did not want to have the trial.
Okay, so she fired
Right.
her. Like she didn't like her at the end.
Correct.
She thought she was difficult or
That's-
what? What did she say was the reason?
She didn't look her in the eyes when she spoke. She felt that she was rude and cold during the interview and felt very uncomfortable.
Not a good fit.
Right.
Fine. So
And that's
she's
fine. And
she's
it's
just
a
as
live-
entitled
like
to
you
live in a place where she's going to be happy.
Absolutely.
So that's fine. So then that's on
same
February
day-
2nd. What is the day of your contract with her is November 20th. So she has December, January until February 20th. What happened in the last 18 days of the contract?
She met another person by the name of Devine, and she was not interested in entertaining her as for a trial.
Okay.
And she met another person by the name of Jody, and she met another person by the name of Denise, Ivita, and
So how many people in total did she interview?
at least 4, but I set up to have her interview maybe 5 or 6. Once I had to cancel that trial, she said to me, I don't want to use your agency anymore. I want my money back. I don't want to use you anymore. And I said, but you're still within your 3-month, allotted time. Give me a chance. Just give me a chance to do my due diligence because that's what I, take pride in, as a business owner. She refused. She didn't want us to have any...
Okay, but you did set her up with at least 4 interviews. Do you deny that you had at least 4 interviews?
That's incorrect. Yes,
Okay, how
I
many
deny.
interviews did you, according to you, you had how many?
Well,
you
the
had the
last
first one, and then you had the one who lasted 1 day, and then
Right.
what?
And then the one with the third one.
And the
which-
third one was someone who didn't want to go through with it.
the someone who wanted to come to my house. I set it up. I informed all my kids. That was the same day. Maybe she had more people on that day, but I didn't go back to interview more.
Okay,
She met them on
what
the
are the
same day.
days that she interviewed them?
She met them on the same day as she met the woman I told you about that didn't want to do the trial, which was February 2nd.
So on February 2nd, she met 3 people?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
She has more than one person, but they were there for babysitting jobs. They weren't for housekeepers.
Did you interview 3 people? Yes or no?
I wouldn't say. I think there's more than one person. I'm not sure if it's 2 or 3. Maybe it's 2.
Okay, and
I'm
when you
not
say they were there
recalling-
for babysitting jobs,
Yeah.
why would you?
Okay, so, I'm a matchmaker, so I wouldn't set a baby nurse
Right.
as a housekeeper just because I know she needs a job. So a housekeeper's only...
So by the time you introduce them, it's for whatever it is the person wants.
Absolutely, 100%.
So if the plaintiff got a reasonable housekeeper at her doorstep and just didn't like her, does she still have to pay the defendant for the service?
I think so, absolutely, because you're hiring someone and that person is trusting you to follow through with your end of the deal.
But
so-
did you get what you paid for if you don't get a housekeeper?
If you got a housekeeper,
You did get a housekeeper, you just didn't like the person they gave you.
if you just didn't like it, then that's your own personal preference. But
So you still have to pay.
they still provided you the service.
Fair enough? You're the last word.
Well, I don't know. Maybe, I guess, yeah. You'll have to pay her.
Maybe, I guess, yeah. Is that a yes?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Going inside the courtroom.
Look, you have an absolute perfect right to have a perfect fit in your house. The thing that, so I don't find you to be unreasonable or demanding. You are entitled to decide what food you want on your plates and whether it can be fried. You are entitled to decide what hours you want. If you're willing to pay for it and someone's with us, America, you could go ahead. It's all great. The thing is, what you have brought me is a lawsuit saying to me, Judge, they didn't do their jobs. They breached the contract. And that is where I disagree with you. I don't disagree on anything else. You're entitled to do what you want and have what you want. If you're willing to pay for it, you'll find somebody who is willing to work for it and do exactly what you want. And that's it. But in any event, you have a contract that says specifically what you have to do, and I find that you did it because it is not a contract that guarantees suitability. It is a contract that guarantees candidates. Okay? And there were 2 that actually went to your house and 1 that decided afterwards she didn't wanna, and then apparently several others. So she complied with the contract, and I'm not ordering her to return the money. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, the plaintiff fails to convince the judge that she should prevail, and you have lost the case. Sorry. Do you think you're a little too particular or too demanding?
No, I don't think so.
Did
But
you
it's
ever
just-
find anybody
Yes.
who could work out for you?
Yes, yes, I found a better firm to work with, and they were able to, find
Provide
an
somebody you
ideal,
wanted?
yeah.
All right,
person.
well, that's good. So congratulations. Glad you got somebody working for you that you like, all right?
Thank you.
But they did their job, according to the judge, okay?
According to the judge.
Thank you. According to the judge, that's what it all is, exactly.
thank
Thank you so much. Here comes Leslie now with her team. Obviously, the judge said you did okay. I was intrigued by one thing you did say. You don't allow potential clients to see information or the references on people you send to. Why is that?
We actually do. We give out references.
You didn't.
No, she said she did it. We didn't. We do. We give out references. We respect the privacy of everybody. We don't give out
Right.
last names until
Right.
the day of hire. I totally respect the judge, and truthfully, I'm very happy that Danielle found a suitable candidate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Harvey, what do you think?
I'll give you a tip. If you do something like this, you can modify the contract and just tell them, look, I will pay you, but only if the housekeeper lasts a minimum of 6 months. See if they'll bite. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Peter. He says he was driving down a 2-lane road, and there was an obstruction in his lane. As he was changing lanes, the defendant sped up, trying to prevent him from diverting lanes, and she sideswiped his car. He even has a video camera on his dashboard and can prove he did the right thing, and it was the defendant who didn't. Bottom line, she refuses to pay for the damage she caused, so he's suing her here in this court. For the $1,087.75 he's out. This is the defendant, Susan Clark. She says the plaintiff abruptly changed lanes without looking for traffic in the other lane, and he sideswiped her. He was yelling at her, saying he had his blinker on, but who cares? You have to make sure no one's in the lane next to you before you make a move, you loser. She called the cops. She went through insurance. The plaintiff's insurance company admitted he was at fault, and this lawsuit has no merit whatsoever. She's accused of cracking a guy up.
All parties, please, your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. Each of these litigants say that the other side swiped him and made an illegal lane change. It's the case of don't go changing.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Okay, Peter, you've asked us not to mention your last name. You're suing Susan Clark for $1,087.75 in damages to your Toyota Highlander hybrid. What happened?
Yeah, November 9th, shortly after 5 p.m., which was already dark then. And there's heavy traffic, and on one side, the cars are going onto the 287, so there's a long line. And when that was clear, I saw that there were no more cars.
When what was clear?
When the right lane was clear.
Okay.
Well, I went into the right lane.
Okay, so you were in a certain lane and you went into the lane to the right.
Exactly.
Okay, and what was in front of you in your lane?
I think there was a truck. I have a video that shows it all.
Why were you going into the right lane?
Oh, because it was then clear.
And you were not clear ahead of you.
And there are, I'm familiar with that road.
Can you hear me though? But when you say it was clear, meaning you could get to where you were going faster because the people in front of you were stopped?
Yes.
Okay, so the people in front of you are stopped, so you look to your right. How do you look? Do you look in your rearview mirror or do you turn around?
Both. There is my mirror has a alert if there's traffic in my,
okay, and so you go into the right lane and what occurs?
Okay, I'm well into the right lane when suddenly I feel being hit.
When you feel a hit, okay, where do you get hit?
On my right front end.
Right front end, okay. And then what happens? Do you see the car before it hits you or no?
I see it as it clips me.
Okay, and then what?
And then the defendant quickly gets ahead of me and stops.
Okay.
And I stop.
And so, did you think it was her fault?
Well, in the heat of the moment, you don't know what to think.
Right.
Okay. Luckily, I have a dash cam, and when I reviewed it, I was kind of shocked to see what I saw.
Okay, so that's what's cued there, and give me 1 second. But tell me how the accident happened, according to you.
I was on Route 9A.
You want to stand up and go over there?
I have a question. Should all cars have dash cams? Should it be mandatory when they leave the new car lot?
Yeah, I think so, because it'll cut down on the confusion of he say, she say, that person hit me or that person didn't hit me.
But what else could it be used for other than car accidents? Come on. In the news a lot.
Conduct.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't necessarily answer it, but it helps, right, to have that?
Yeah, I think it does help a lot.
That's not a bad idea. Generated right here on the People's Court, going inside the courtroom.
Okay, we'll say that this is my car, okay? And this is, I had been diverted to 9A. There was construction on the sawmill, so it's not a road I'm very familiar with. So I was not traveling that fast. It was raining and it was dark. We were approaching a traffic light and we're coming up, and all of a sudden a car comes and hits me that way and all along the side of my car.
Are you kidding? So the whole side of your car is?
Yeah, the driver's side, the back passenger door, and my door. And I have pictures of that. So I pulled over, and the plaintiff pulled over, and I said I wanted to call the police. They came, they said they couldn't issue a ticket because they hadn't witnessed the accident. And the plaintiff said he had a video dash cam, and so I submitted the next day a claim to his insurance company, and he submitted his video, and they determined, I'm assuming from what they saw in the video, that their insured was at fault, and they paid completely for the
100% for your
repairs
damages
to my car.
Now, you were surprised at that because when you see the dash cam, you think it exonerates you and puts her at fault for the accident, correct?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead and go back over there and let us play the dash cam.
Okay, this is where it happens.
How is that not your fault? I just watched you go into a lane where somebody was already in that lane.
I don't think so, no.
Oh, yes. Let's play it again.
Okay.
Okay. So you're here. You actually have a camera on your dashboard. That's fascinating. I love that. Why is that there? I think it's great.
I'll explain in a minute.
Okay. So you're in this lane. Then these people in front of you are stopped, and you don't want to stop. So you're going into the right lane. Correct?
Well, I'm familiar with that because...
I don't care how familiar you are. These people are stopped, and you want to keep propelling.
Yeah, of course.
So you are now... Look how quickly you move into the right lane. Go ahead. Go into the right lane. I don't mean your speed. And there's the car. The car was in that lane. You misjudged whether or not there was a car in the lane. It turns out there's a car in the lane.
I don't think you saw that she went onto a sidewalk.
No, she didn't go onto a sidewalk. She got pushed barely to the right side of the lane. Play it again. She's in the lane right now after you hit her. She's not on a sidewalk after you hit her. She's in the lane, and the only reason she's moved that way is because you hit her. Show me the pictures of your car. I mean, I don't mean to be impolite, but I don't know how you can see that and not realize that it's your fault.
These are actually supplied by him. So,
do you have other pictures?
No.
Okay.
Okay. If you'll notice, the bumper is pulled forward. Okay. As she clips me, she's actually clipping me and pushing this forward.
Can I just ask you a question? She's in that lane, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, you think she had been before that? Where was she? Where do you think she was?
She's in back of me.
Okay, but if she's in back of you, so what do you think? She saw you moving into her lane, and then she decided to go on the sidewalk to pass you?
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Here's my car, okay? This is, I'm in the lane. Her headlight is shining on this pedestrian. It's hard to...
It's not hard. It's very easy. Play it again. Let's play it one more time. It's not hard. It's just you don't, you disagree with everyone who looks at it.
I believe the lane is free now.
You do believe the lane is free.
And then I move into the lane.
Right, you move into the lane and you hit a car.
Yeah, but...
Yes, but do you understand that by the time the car is in your field of vision, you've hit her. You've hit her, and that's why she's not on the sidewalk in this picture. She's a little bit to the right. A little bit to the right, but she's in the little bit to the right because you hit her. I mean, you're going into somebody's lane. Because insurance companies are not known for wanting to hand out the dough. Usually they want to keep their dough. So if there's even a remote possibility that they can say 50-50, they do. And even the insurance company didn't say that in this case. So the best evidence you have is the dash cam. Because the dash cam shows you're in the lane, he wants to go into your lane, and apparently he misjudges whether he has an opportunity to go into your lane. It happens every day. It's called an accident. Did you not have collision on your car?
I don't get collision because I self-insure, basically.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's a decision you make. But you're going to be self-insuring in this one because the accident's not her fault. It's yours. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you.
Well, in a very interesting case, the plaintiff's own evidence convinces a judge that he's in the wrong and really does not deserve to prevail in this lawsuit. Peter, how do you feel about this?
Very disappointed.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because the insurance company obviously looked at this and they said you were in the wrong, and you're trying to fight that.
Well, the reason I think they decide that way, it was much cheaper for them to not litigate her insurance company.
Well, no, I think, I don't know, but I mean, the chances are really strong. They looked at it and said, yeah, you're guilty. It's your problem. The judge had no problem at all deciding you were guilty.
But this pattern of the scrape shows that she scraped along my front end.
Scraped along.
Well,
let me ask you a quick question. Why do you have a dash cam video in your car?
Well, years ago, there were Russian videos of a meteor. And the reason they had so many videos is that the Russians have dash cams on their cars.
Interesting. All right. Sorry about that. Your own evidence caused you to lose the case. Okay?
Judges are always correct.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you very much. She
know.
won't agree. The door is that way, sir. All right, Ms. Clark. How are you? You feeling good now?
Yes, I'm glad to have
I mean,
it
the
over.
insurance company paid,
Yes.
right? And then he sued you to get the money back.
I was shocked.
I'm sure you were.
I'm very glad the judge saw the wisdom of the
Oh,
case.
boy. Thank goodness he brought the Dashcam video.
I know.
You didn't have to do a thing. Nothing.
Nope.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. How about that one, Harvey? Fascinating.
You know, I just want to spend a second talking about this, Doug. I think this would be a great idea. I mean, it could actually save millions and millions and millions of dollars in litigation fees because a car accident would become so clear you wouldn't end up having to go to court, and the insurance company would know exactly what happened long before it ended up as litigation. We should think about this.
Don't text and drive. The People's Court is a Ralph Edwards Stu Willett production.